Hello, this is Lee Guillaume's podcast. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into South Korea. It's a nation that, well, for many, has always been seen in a particular light, maybe a bit specific. But it's now rapidly ascending to a really quite a surprising position of global influence and power. So our mission today is to understand this shift, not just geopolitically, but also what's it actually like to live there, especially from the perspective of foreigners who've made it their second home.
Right. And what's truly fascinating here is how these two perspectives, the strategic and the really personal, how they intertwine. We'll explore the measurable impact Korea is having globally. Then we'll pivot to the rich, sometimes really surprising daily realities for long-term foreign residents. And this brings up a key question for you, our listener. What can these different views tell us about Korea's rise, and maybe what hidden strengths could other places learn from?
Let's kick off with a fact that might make you do a double take. Forbes' annual global power ranking. South Korea recently climbed to 6th place. That puts it ahead of, long-established heavyweights. France at 7th, Japan at 8th.
Yeah.
For international strategists, that wasn't just a number change. It was a genuine, whoa moment, a reevaluation of the whole map.
Exactly. And it wasn't a fluke. It's about much more than just the ranking itself. Forbes looks at key things: GDP, military muscle, diplomatic clout, soft power, geopolitical impact. And Korea has shown, pretty remarkable growth across all of them. Take the military side. It's now the world's 6th largest military power.
6th.
Yeah. And think about K-Defense. They're not just, selling weapons off the shelf. They're securing major strategic deals, advanced systems going to Europe, Australia, the Middle East. Look at Poland.
Yeah.
They're not just buying K-2 tanks. They're setting up co-production. Localization.
Ah, okay.
That's a different level. It signals a unique status, a high level of tech transfer.
That is a significant step up from maybe the older perception. And how does that military side connect with their economic strategy?
Precisely. The economic strength isn't just the GDP figure, it's deeply tied into these strategic industries. Think about semiconductors, batteries, shipbuilding, AI, these critical sectors.
Right.
Korea's moved beyond just being a supplier. Many countries are now, frankly, structurally dependent on Korean tech.
Dependent.
In a way, yes. For instance, Taiwan's TSMC, they lead in foundry, right? Manufacturing chips designed elsewhere. But Korea is unique because it manages both system semiconductors, the brains and memory markets, data storage. They've built this whole robust domestic ecosystem, equipment design, materials, the lot.
I see.
And that's why Korea is so central to things like the U.S.-led Ship4 alliance. It's about supply chain stability.
And then, of course, there's the cultural dominance, the Hallyu wave. That seems almost self-evident now.
Oh, absolutely. The impact of Hallyu, the Korean wave, groups like BTS, shows like Squid Game, K-movies, K-dramas, they've already shaped global content trends. It just cuts across language, culture, emotional barriers. It's quite unparalleled, really, that ability to connect worldwide.
But you're suggesting the story isn't just these impressive stats or chart-topping hits. There's something deeper, an invisible power.
That's a great way to put it, this invisible power. And it shows up in fascinating ways. Look at Korea's crisis response system. Remember the pandemic?
K-quarantine.
Exactly, K-quarantine,
Yeah.
swift, systematic, real-time government coordination, central and local, QR codes, citizen participation, mostly voluntary. It became a benchmark referenced across Europe, the U.S.
Right.
But that's not something you just switch on overnight. It comes from decades of systemic thinking, a really strong digital social infrastructure. And another key piece, its judicial system and civic consciousness. Remember the political turmoil. Hundreds of thousands protesting peacefully.
Yeah, the candlelight vigils.
Leading to a legal impeachment of a president. That wasn't chaos. It showed a society where the Constitution is supreme, the law applies equally, even to the top leaders.
So it's about the underlying structures.
Yeah.
How society is wired to respond and adapt. What about the economy beyond manufacturing?
Right, delving deeper. It's way more complex than just exports. Underneath, there's this dynamic ecosystem. Manufacturing and services, tech, they're organically converging. The SME scene, the startups, incredibly diverse. And many tech startups are aiming straight for international supply chains, not just the home market.
Interesting. That's different.
It is, especially for countries used to more domestic-focused economies. And crucially, there's this strong government-private sector collaboration. Policy design really prioritizes feasibility. Realistic roadmaps for big future stuff like AI, carbon neutrality, digital healthcare. That ability to design the structure, that's arguably more important than just the numbers you see at the end.
Okay, but no country's perfect. Korea faces big challenges too, right? Housing issues, labor market flexibility, that low birth rate. How do they approach those?
That's a very fair point. And what's compelling isn't that they don't have problems, but their attitude towards them. They don't ignore them. Despite political arguments, the public debate, the media scrutiny, the expert analysis, it's incredibly intense, open. There's this collective will to actually confront the issues. And the speed at which society then tries to adapt, to transform reality, that's what really cements Korea's position. And underneath it all, there's this subtle but quite powerful sense of trust. Citizens expect things, they watch closely, but there's an expectation. And the government tends to respond with concrete plans, not just formalities. It's this dynamic, this back and forth between criticism and progress that lets Korea sort of subtly expand its influence globally.
And that influence clearly reaches into global governance too.
Yeah.
You mentioned shaping international norms.
Precisely. Take the disarmament conference in Geneva this year. Korea's representative didn't just talk about existing weapons. They proposed new norms for AI, emerging tech, and security.
Ahead of the curve.
Exactly. Not just following the big powers, but actually proposing new principles directly. And the response was remarkable. Switzerland, Singapore, Canada, even Germany. They all expressed interest, wanted follow-up talks, asked to share Korea's tech-based security governance model. Think about that. A nation that wasn't historically at the center of designing the global order is now taking a lead. You see similar things elsewhere. APEC Korea proposed an AI trade initiative. A Xeon +3 championed supply chain resilience. And importantly, these weren't just ideas thrown out there. Member states adopted them as agreements, moved them to working-level talks.
That's significant.
Hugely significant. Setting the agenda is power. Getting it adopted, that's influence.
It's fascinating how they manage their international relations, too, squeezed between these major powers.
Oh, it's impressive. They have this dual strategy, maintaining that strong alliance with the U.S. while very delicately managing the absolutely crucial economic ties with China. Navigating those complex history and security issues with Japan, they do it by gradually building diplomatic contact, even when there's friction.
A balancing act.
It's more than just strategy. It's like an intuitive political rhythm. Maintaining pragmatic ties with everyone without being anyone's shadow. And they do it without shouting about it, without grandstanding, which is quite different from, say, typical American approaches. This sort of restrained influence seems to spread even wider. Some European strategic think tanks are now calling Korea an extended middle power.
Extended middle power. What does that mean exactly?
It means it's not just growing stronger, it's formally taking part in the discussions about designing the international order, sitting at the table.
So it's a profound change from a country others maybe thought needed guidance to one that's now a reference point for innovation, even governance.
Exactly. That old idea of Korea being good at handling technology but not leading design, that's just outdated now. If someone today calls advanced semiconductors mere components, they fundamentally don't get the global economy.
Right.
And Korea holds a lot of those critical components. Think about how the U.S. government is reacting to advancements in chips, batteries, AI, defense platforms. The U.S. is a leader, yes, but there's a deep reliance on Korea in these fields. Korea's moving from being just a backup to being a structural designer.
The fact the U.S. asks for help.
That's the clearest signal, isn't it? A real shift in status. And it's not just manufacturing capacity. It's the design judgment, the ability to set the new technological direction, the inertia. You see it in defense, too. Once an importer of weapons, now ninth largest exporter globally by volume.
Winning bids against U.S. and European companies.
Yes. And that's not just outsourcing. It's the technology reflecting national status, the design capability of a national brand. And the strategy behind it is striking. Multiple ministries, industry, science, defense, foreign affairs, all aligned on tech security. Private companies maintain coherence but act independently. It's not forced from the top down. It feels more like a collective sense of direction, born from sensing danger, sensing opportunity. And they've done all this pretty quietly. No big fanfare. Technological sovereignty feels like a better term for Korea now than technological hegemony. Not pushing others aside, but securing their own vital position.
And this underlying drive, this speed, this adaptability, it feels like it comes from somewhere deep, almost historical.
It absolutely does. You can see it in the data, but the data doesn't tell the whole story. Long working hours, yes. High startup rates, even if survival rates are lower. Intense focus on education, rapid digital transformation, incredible crisis adaptability. But it's not just effort. It's rooted in this a societal structure that sees risk as opportunity, and opportunity as very time-limited.
Like the IMF crisis response.
The 1997 IMF crisis is the perfect example. Citizens voluntarily collecting gold, wedding rings, baby bracelets, to pay off national debt.
Unbelievable.
And the nation recovered in just 2 years. But what's truly astonishing is that this collective action felt natural to people there, not coerced. It was this shared instinct. If the country falls, I fall too.
Wow.
That instinct, community first in crisis, individual mobilization for the collective, you don't capture that in statistics. It comes from a history of, well, constant instability, war, division, incredibly fast industrialization, global financial shocks. That instability, sometimes it feels like a compulsion, but it translates into immense energy. Unprecedented collective drive. Look at Hallyu. Systematically nurtured government and private sector for 20 years, now exporting emotions, language, globally. At its heart, there's this feeling, this might be the last chance. If it doesn't work now, there won't be another.
That sounds quite pessimistic.
Initially, maybe. But that desperation, it's actually Korea's fuel. So this rise to sixth power, it's not just tech or diplomacy or the economy. It's built on this powerful collective will, constantly solidifying itself despite feeling like the foundation is fragile. That's a kind of strength other nations can't easily copy.
Okay, so we've looked at Korea's global impact, this incredible rise. But what does that actually mean for someone living there day to day? What have expats found?
This is where the story gets really compelling, I think. We heard from one expat from the UK originally, lived in Korea 9 years. He's very open about Korea's problems, acknowledges them. But he confidently says it's incredibly livable, feels more like home than England now.
More than home. Why?
He points to specific things about daily life, things that show this amazing urban efficiency, this society built for convenience, like food and delivery. It's not just loving the food, samjapsal, cheonggukjeong, though he does. It's the culture of speed. Chinese food in 10 minutes, pizza in 15.
That's fast.
It's a national obsession, a huge contrast to many places. And the banchan, the side dishes, loads of them, free refills, always a highlight. Then public services and infrastructure. Seoul's subway, he calls it a marvel. Clean, convenient, cheap, always on time, zero graffiti.
A 15-minute delay is news.
Exactly. And that efficiency extends everywhere. Opening a bank account in the UK could take a month. Internet, weeks. In Korea, quick, efficient, affordable. He calls it heaven by comparison. Mobile networks. Super fast LTE is standard. Connectivity everywhere, even deep in subway tunnels.
Okay, that's impressive.
Then, safety and social convenience. Despite crime reports you might see, he says it feels remarkably safe, never felt threatened in 9 years, unlike London. And this translates to trust. People leave laptops on cafe tables when they go to the restroom.
Really?
Yeah. And leisure and accessibility. Lots of affordable fun. Private karaoke rooms, modern cinemas, good popcorn even. Bars, pubs, restaurants open 24/7. Huge for social life. Even travel accommodation is easy. Motels, gym bangs, the bathhouses are cheap, comfy overnight options. Medical services too, excellent, reasonably priced, specialists available quickly. Big contrast to NHS waiting lists or expensive private care elsewhere. He mentioned an X-ray costing like $20,000 with a 5-minute wait versus $400,000 in the UK.
Wow, that's a difference.
And finally, online shopping. This might be the peak of Korean efficiency. You can buy literally anything online. Next day delivery is standard. Order fresh food by midnight. It's there by 7 a.m.
That blurs the line between online and offline.
Totally. It's a society just engineered for maximum convenience.
So a super efficient, convenient society. And building on that, you mentioned insights from a really diverse group, people that are 15, 20, even 40 years. How has the culture actually changed them?
Yes, their stories are fascinating. They show this really deep immersion. Many talk about physical adaptation, like they go back home and suddenly can't tolerate the water or food.
Seriously?
Yeah, they need to pack Korean indigestion medicine, ramen, kimchi. One person literally said they felt they cannot live in India anymore. They get comfortable with public bathhouses, which were maybe daunting initially. One guy even talked about feeling genuine tears singing the Korean national anthem, realizing how deep his affection had become.
Wow. And beyond the physical, what about social habits, cultural norms? How do those change?
Oh, profoundly. Take social etiquette. The 90-degree bow becomes automatic. Sometimes they forget to shake hands back home. They develop a taste for Korean hangover cures, kimchi jjigae, soup-based things over greasy food. Then there's patience and efficiency. They lose patience with slow service elsewhere. They expect free water, free toilet paper in restaurants, things often charged for back home.
Right.
Public transport, traffic, mobile internet in their home countries. suddenly feels frustratingly slow. They even adopt the polite pushing to get onto crowded subways. It's just essential for getting anywhere on time in Seoul.
Ah, I can picture that.
And in public spaces, that thing about leaving belongings unattended, they get used to it. It's a sign of safety. Eating on trains becomes normal. Always carrying power banks, headphones, using phone time on the go as healing time.
It sounds like their whole baseline expectation of how society works has shifted. How does this deep immersion change their work life, their social interactions?
Hugely. They fully embrace the Korean drinking culture. Soju, multiple rounds, the whole uncha thing, after-work gathering. Yeah, first round dinner, second round drinks, third round, maybe karaoke. It's a whole process. They learn strict punctuality. Arriving 30-40 minutes early for appointments becomes normal. Something may be tough initially for someone from, say, India, but crucial for work there. They absorb the senior-junior dynamics. Seniors look after juniors, juniors show respect. Might mean arriving earlier, leaving later than the boss, different from, say, the UK's more merit-based vibe.
Right, that hierarchy.
And dining habits. They automatically look for the hidden cutlery drawer under the table in restaurants.
Oh, yes.
They love the communal sharing of food, unlike the individual plates often seen in the West. The variety, the unlimited banchan, always a plus. They start eating faster. Instinctively set the table, pour water for elders, learn the polite way to pour drinks, hiding the bottle label. On a personal level, skincare. Many, including men, adopt those multi-step Korean routines.
The K-beauty effect.
Exactly. They become more aware of fast-changing fashion, hair trends, enjoy the shopping culture, and language. They start using Korean phrases naturally. I go for, well, everything. Nenene on the phone. Hyoldaebak for wow. Polite goodbyes like Yal meo jiosiumnida. I ate well, thank you. Suga hasiuthmida. Good job. You worked hard. They even teach their kids Korean manners, the honorifics.
Okay. So they become quite Koreanized in many ways. But after all that time, are there things that don't change? Habits that stick? And what seems really strange to them when they visit home?
It's funny, yeah, a few things persist, often confusing their families back home. Many still prefer a warm Americano, even on a hot day. Just habit. Breakfast. They often struggle with Korean rice and soup first thing, still prefer cereal or bread.
Comfort food.
Totally. Clothing habits, too. Taking clothes off inside out or putting them in the laundry basket inside out. Apparently this baffles family members. And shoes indoors. Having adapted to the Korean no shoes inside rule, going back home and seeing people wear shoes inside feels strange, even a bit dirty to them. And the cold. Despite maybe coming from colder countries, many find Korean winters genuinely too cold. Yet they see Koreans popping out in slippers and thin jackets.
And the cultural differences go beyond just habits, right?
Yes.
How do they perceive their home countries now versus Korea, especially around emotions or social interaction?
Yeah, they notice stark contrasts. Indian expats mention Koreans being surprised by their constant smiles, their lack of visible stress, even when things are tough. Indians, maybe having learned to embrace the present due to historical ups and downs, often seem happier to Koreans, even if they have less materially.
Interesting perception.
Polish expats talked about their home culture of open complaining, directness being a form of bonding, which contrasts with Korea's more reserved style in some situations. South Africans, often seen as loud, loving to dance and sing, having this infectious hung, this excitement or vibe. They also noted how strangers make eye contact and greet each other in South Africa, which they found similar to a Korean custom. These little observations highlight big cultural nuances.
It's clear Korea changes them profoundly. But what about the other way around? How has Korea's image changed in their home countries over these years? That must be a huge shift.
Oh, absolutely. A massive transformation. Take India. Once, Korea was barely known or confused with North Korea. Now, K-pop is enormous. K-culture is a phenomenon. Indians are lining up to learn Korean, to visit. Big increase in Korean investment in India, too.
Wow.
Poland used to be known for Daewoo cars, Hyundai trams. Now, Poland sees Korea as a major strategic partner because of those huge arms deals. The relationship has totally deepened. South Africa, maybe known for Mandela or certain music styles, now they see Korea as this global cultural force. Korean artists are even using amapiano beats. More South Africans want to visit Korea. And Belarus, once pretty unknown globally. Now, it's getting more recognition, sometimes with that stereotype about beautiful women, but the point is, Korea's global presence makes these connections happen.
And for those who've been in Korea for decades, 20, 40 years, how has Korea itself changed in their eyes? They must have seen incredible transformations.
Oh, profound evolution. They talk about the physical environment. Even the smells have changed. Less construction dust, less sewage odor, though some weirdly feel nostalgic for those old smells.
Nostalgic for sewage smells.
Haha. Yeah, the smell of progress, maybe. Old traditional houses, mostly gone, replaced by endless high-rise apartments. The urban landscape, Gangnam, for example, used to have fewer apartments, huge bus terminals. Now it's dense, modern buildings, small local shops, arcades, largely replaced by cafes. So many cafes.
Right.
Cultural shifts, seeing people wear traditional hanbok day to day, much less common now. Mostly tourists renting them at palaces. Traditional restaurants disappearing, replaced by cafes, which makes some expats feel a sense of loss. The social pace, definitely faster. People are much busier. You need to book appointments months in advance sometimes. A more demanding lifestyle. And nostalgia. They remember old TV shows, X-Men, Love Letter, old K-pop songs that are now coming back as retro or neutro. It just highlights how long they've been immersed.
So despite all that change, what stays consistent for them? And what do they genuinely still miss about home?
Well, they see consistent IT development, especially in places like Belarus, where tech workers apparently live quite well. They also pointed out a surprising demographic contrast. Belarus having exploding birth rates due to great childcare policies, while Korea faces the opposite problem.
Interesting juxtaposition.
But yeah, deep longings persist. Missing mom's cooking. Always. For Indian expats, finding a decent place to play cricket is tough. And they miss the huge week-long Indian weddings compared to the quick Korean ceremonies. Some still miss rooting for their home country's sports teams, that connection. And they worry about rising costs back home, too, like in South Africa, where wages haven't kept up. It's not all roses when they look back, either.
So putting it all together, what's the takeaway for you, our listener? We've seen Korea as this strategic force reshaping global norms, cultural giant, and a place expats become deeply attached to. Its impact seems undeniable. Built on this collective will, this drive for efficiency.
Exactly. And if you connect that back to the bigger picture, Korea isn't just a country to watch anymore, or even just reference. As that strategic policy expert suggested, it's becoming a model to actually learn from. That unique blend, efficiency, resilience, innovation, that powerful collective spirit, it offers really valuable insights, especially for anyone trying to navigate this rapidly changing world we're all in.
Which leaves us with a question for you to think about. In your own life, in your own work or field, what are the unexpected models out there, the people, the organizations, the places quietly achieving amazing things, just waiting for you to maybe unlearn some old assumptions and really dive deep?